All right, here we go. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Coach Hapa. I'm very excited to have you here. Folks, I'm here to answer your questions. So you tell me what it is that you want me to answer, and I'm here to do it. All right, here we are. Everybody, happy Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Yeah, it's Wednesday. Shout out to everybody who is joining us here live. Do me a favor, make sure to put in the chat where you are joining us from. Say hello. We want this to be a two-way communication. Essentially, I am here to be able to help answer any questions that you might have. This is Ask Hapa Live, aka AHA. I hope to be able to have a light bulb go off for you here today. So welcome in. Shout out to our friends on YouTube. Shout out to our friends on Twitch as well. If you are watching this as a replay, hello to you also. Today, what I want to do is I want to break down the process for creating a set. Now, you will never stop making sets as a DJ, but I do want to be able to break this down because I think there is a lot of confusion sometimes around how to create a set. And there are different types of sets. And so I want to kind of just demystify that whole thing. If you are a complete beginner, you are in the right place. If you've been DJing for decades, you are also in the right place. And maybe this is a way of getting you to think about DJing a little bit differently. So I'm going to go ahead and let me switch over to my whiteboard here. Okay, great. So I want to think about a set in a couple of different ways. And typically what ends up happening when you first start DJing, you create a set early on that looks like this. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. You basically are putting songs in a particular order, and then you are rehearsing them in this order. So you are rehearsing sort of like a preset set. And many of us have done this. This also sometimes can be the way that you approach a recorded set. So let's say you're trying to put together a mix. Shout out to some of my pro DJ certs. I see some of them here live. DJ T-Rel in the chat. I see you from Detroit, my guy. All right. So if you're putting together a mix, this has a start and an end. And what I want to try to encourage DJs to do is to not just hit record and play live with no direction when it comes to a recorded set. When it comes to a recorded set, again, I see there being two different types of that. One is, yeah, you're at an event and sure, you're hitting record live at an event. That's a live set. And then when it comes to making a mix, though, I think it's important to have a lot more intention behind what it is that you're choosing. So T-Rel, you may recognize this because you and I were speaking about this earlier, but I believe in moments. And this is not only just for a recorded mixtape or something like that, but this also certainly applies to a live event. So I've also seen DJs who do this. They are playing at the beginning of the night. Let's say this is our time. Okay, so let's say I'm playing at a gig. I start at 9. I finish at 2 in the morning. Great. So over time, I'm going to start with a lower BPM, like let's say I'm starting at 80 beats per minute. And then basically I'm bringing up the tempo so that then at 2 a.m. I'm at 128 beats per minute. And this is the way that you're DJing. This probably won't work out very well. While, yes, there are some like great tracks to play at 9 o'clock at 80 beats per minute. If we were to like come here and this is now at midnight or something like that, what is halfway through this? Like 11:30? That then you would be at like 105 at 11:30 or something like that. And then you're just continuing to play this way. I do not think that this is the best way to go. Let me show you what I think might be better. I want you to think about moments. So maybe there's this moment early on in the night. Maybe there's this moment here at around midnight. There's this moment for sure at the end of the night. And then maybe you have some other moments that you're going to sort of center around in these different areas. And so whatever that moment is, now you might say, Coach, what the heck are you talking about? Moments. What is this? Well, depending on the event, Some events already have moments built into them. For example, a wedding. There's absolutely moments that are already built in there, right? There is the moment of the first dance, which obviously you're playing a song that probably was already picked by the bride and groom. Right? This isn't necessarily DJ's choice at that moment in time. But what you play after that or what you do around those moments matters too. So, for instance, a good one would be trying to get the dance floor going at a wedding or at a corporate event or at a private event. Like everybody was sitting down having dinner and now you're going to get them going. What is that moment? What does that look like? What is that song that's getting everybody up? And then what are you playing after that? So, let's just use that as an example. Let's say at that time, I'm going to play Michael Jackson, Want to Be Starting Something, right? So that's at 122. So now what else can go with that? What else is around plus or minus 4 BPM of this 122 that also has a similar vibe that I think people will really like and continue to keep dancing? Like, what else do I have in my library? So now I'm starting to group some things together, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be of the same genre. It just sort of has to keep that same energy up. If that makes sense. Cool. So when it comes to putting a set together, I want you to almost think in terms of moments. And what does this look like in terms of how you set this up in your software? So inside of your Serato or whatever it is that you're using, right? Like here's an example of something that I pulled up. Like let's say this is David's 50th birthday party, and then I'm going to make a sub crate around 50 Cent at midnight. Right? Let's say his actual birthday is at midnight. And so I want that's a moment. And then I'm going to build around that. So now I'm at 90 beats per minute. But what am I playing before that? What am I playing after that? What else goes with that? I've now made a sub crate, and then I can start to put songs in based on things that I think would fit well in there. Right. So then I go through my library, start throwing stuff in there. And then you might be like, all right, in terms of moments could also be a song that you really want to get into. So I figured, all right, let's say Murder She Wrote. I've made a sub crate called Murder She Wrote here, which would be, the classic reggae dancehall record by Shaka Demus, and get everybody moving in that moment. That's 96 beats per minute. What else can go with that? Well, I've got like Sean Paul Deport Them, and I'm going to put that in there too. And then maybe I'll also get into Daddy Yankee in that moment as well. And I'm going to put those things into that space. And then same, I wrote another thing with like Usher. Yeah. I'm going to center around Usher. Yeah. And then what else goes with that? So you can do the same thing even with a recorded mix. You could do the same thing of like, what is that moment that you're trying to create? Maybe there's a clip from a movie, or there's some type of, I don't know, audio that you're using that's creating a moment. And then what are you doing around that? So hopefully this helps. Is to stop thinking about things purely just on BPM, and to think about things in terms of moments. And I'm going to say one more thing, which is if you've ever, I'll switch back over to Serato. If you've ever done this, which by the way, I'm using smart crates, but one of the things that I'm doing here is I'm organizing my music by key. So I'm running a smart crate based off of key. And this sometimes helps because if I've got let's say this track, Look Into My Eyes, it's at 116 and it's in 2B. So I can go here to my minor or my major keys and get to 116 and kind of see what else is around this. Kanye, Paranoid, that could kind of work. This Sunny Days by Viceroy, that's a dope one. So I've got some different Michael Jackson, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. Yeah, maybe. Or Want to Dance with Somebody. Okay, so I might then start to group things that way as well when we're starting to think about key. I just want to say this though about key and the circle of fifths. You don't want to get too obsessed with key because it really should be a secondary filter. You should really tap into what is the energy that you're looking for and how to group songs together based off of that. Or what is your DJ intuition telling you? I, for one, have definitely become guilty at times with paying too much attention to BPM and key and not enough attention to like what does the crowd need right now. Maybe I just need to switch it up and change up the tempo altogether and change up the vibe altogether right now. We sometimes can get really locked into, well, this goes with this, and well, this goes with this. And sometimes that's not the right answer. Sometimes the right answer to take the crowd to the next level has nothing to do with the BPM or the key that you're at right now. It just happens to do with this, like, oh, yeah, actually, California Love right now would really go off. Okay, let me pull that up, and being able to think like that and maintain your curator hat as a DJ. All right, let me double check the chat here. I know we've got some folks that have tuned in here. Shout out from Seattle. Nelson, I see you. We've got Florida in the house. Clags is here from Vermont, sunny Vermont. It might be sunny there today, Clags. I know you're now in the summer months. Let's see. And if you have questions, by the way, feel free to put any question that you have in the chat. This literally is Ask Me Anything. It could have something to do with like the actual physical act of mixing, scratching, business, branding, like anything like that. I'm happy to figure out how I can help you. So welcome in today. In the meantime, as I'm trying to see if you all have questions, I'm going to go ahead and do this process that many of you have become very familiar with, which is mapping out a song. So I'm going to go ahead and delete all my hot cues from this, and I'm going to go ahead and map this song for you real quick. Fun fact or fun challenge would be, I would love for you, no matter what state you're at in terms of mapping, I would love for you to time yourself and try to gamify your mapping a little bit. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to time myself here. Let me get my phone out. I'm going to do this kind of manually. Use my phone. Let's see if I can get this done in less than 3 minutes. Okay. So I'm going to set a timer for 3 minutes and go. Okay, so I'm going to set another point here. Turn on quantize. So I've got 8 bars and then this other 8 bars here. For the most part, it's instrumental. Look into my eyes, can you see they're open wide? Would I lie to you? Would I lie to you? Don't you know it's true? Cause there's no one else but you. Would I lie to you? Would I lie to you, babe? It's hard for me to demonstrate. Okay, so that was the chorus, and now we're into the verse, and that really lacked real drums in it. So I'm not gonna mark it off right now. I'm gonna keep going. I'm at work when I stay up late. Remember, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out how do we get in and how do we get out. Club girls call when I serenade. Me love you, always on the road. Love you, I ain't jealous when you go. Yeah, oh, oh, oh. Look into my eyes, can you see they're open wide? Would I lie to you? Would I lie to you, babe? Don't you know it's true? There's no one else but you. So this is the chorus, but it feels like it's gonna hit. It feels like the drop is coming. Look into my eyes, can you see they're open wide? Would I lie to you? Would I lie to you, babe? Back of the car. Okay, so this is really 8 bars, and I'm going to go ahead and mark that off. So this is 8 bars. I basically have an 8-bar drop, and I'm labeling things here: instrumental, light vocal, sample, and this is halfway through it. So now I know how to get in, and I know how to get out. I've got a minute left. I'm going to go ahead and find the next one. Into my eyes, can you see they're open wide? Would I lie to you? Would I lie to you, babe? You know it's true, there's no one else but you. Would I lie to you, babe? Would I lie to you, babe? Okay, so let me reset this. Let me get rid of this last one. I'm gonna set this. This is actually Yep, this is 16 bars instead of 8 bars. And I now have another out. So I've got 2 ways in and 2 ways out. I've got a 16 bar intro or an 8 bar intro, and then to get out, I've got an 8 bar to get out, or I've got a 16 bar to get out. And that's it. This is the basics of what I need to know about every track. And there goes my timer. 3 minutes. It took me 3 minutes to go ahead and figure out how to get in and out. I probably could have done it a little bit faster if I wasn't talking, but you get the idea. It's not as though this takes so long. When I start telling people, like, you got to map out your songs, a lot of times people are a little reluctant because they think it's going to take away all this time from them. It's actually not taking that long at all to be able to do this. And now I know how to get in and out of this song. So what does that mean? That means that I'm going to be a lot more confident when I'm actually DJing and when I'm actually performing. Could you mix songs without mapping them out, without setting hot cues? You could, but you'll be way more confident if you actually knew how to get in and out of the songs. So I highly, highly, highly encourage you to make sure you do this. I've got a whole teaching around this. We've got hot cue strategy where you're using my different colors here. So the colors here are denote length. So if you've never seen this before, I changed this. This is pink. Pink is 16 bars. Red is 8 bars. Yellow in my system is 4 bars. I use a purple in my system for 32 bars for anything that's a lot longer. So with certain genres, that are longer. But now I know exactly how to get in and out of this song. So now it's just about being able to line things up properly. And that's it. That's it. This is a real quick and easy way to be able to know your music and to really lift up your overall confidence. All right. So let me double check in the chat here. We've got a couple of questions. Let me scroll to these. Hold on one second. All right. Let's see what we got. T-Roll joined us on YouTube and then also joined us on Twitch. So let's see. Let me see. Oh, T-Roll went back to this. Let's see. Let's show this here. When you're thinking about moments in your mix, how many songs do you suggest leading up into your main song? Like one of your examples was Usher. Yeah. This is a good question. So I try to think of clusters of songs as, I don't know, anywhere between 6 to 12 songs, something like that. You don't want things to get too big. So when we're looking at this here with like the smart crates, right? Or not the smart crates, the sub crates. Let me go back to that one that I had here. So this like example of like David's 50th or whatever. Like, around that Usher, yeah, I would really be pulling in 6 to 12 songs that would go with the Usher, yeah. And then if I had more songs within that same BPM range that were this similar vibe, I'd probably just create a separate sub crate for that as well, just so that I could start to section off different things. Like for instance, I don't know, maybe with the Usher, yeah, I'm putting in certain songs that, I mean, Usher, yeah, has been out for a while now, right? So maybe I'm putting in some songs that are maybe a little bit older that would keep that going, and like that people who would like that would like these other songs. And then maybe still around 105, I'd still make another sub crate, but that I would do, maybe I'm centering around, I don't know, Mi Gente or something, right? So like a Latin record that's 105, and then like some of the song choices that I'm picking around that would feel like that, would have that type of feel. So it's what you don't want to do is just to get these sub crates to be so big that they basically are the same as a crate, and you're just taking, a whole bunch of songs that are within that same BPM range and dumping them in there, and now you've got 40 songs here. You're really trying to minimize your choices. Like that's a part of what we're trying to do with sub crates. We want to try to minimize our choices so that we're not looking all over for the next song. So hopefully that helps. Good question though, T-Rel. Appreciate you asking that. Let's see. What else do we have? Okay, here's another question. All right, so have I used the Mixing Key software before? Yes, I have. And actually, we have a course that we designed with Mixing Key, which should be out already, but isn't out yet. I Mixed Key has the best key detection software. They were the ones who also developed the Camelot wheel, that colorful wheel that you've probably seen. I'm trying to see if I've got a photo, an image of it here on one of my things. I know. Oh, yeah, here. So they were the ones that developed this wheel. So this is essentially using a musical concept called the circle of fifths. So the way that this works is that every key is assigned a number and a letter. So 1A is actually A flat minor, 2A is E flat minor, 12A is D flat minor, right? So you've got your minors in the center, which are your A's, and you've got your major scales on the outside, which are your B's. So the idea here is if I had a song that was 1A, that could mix with 2A or 12A or of course another 1A song. And if I were to go from minor to major, that would be 1B. Right? So again, if you had a song that was 7A, then that would go 6A, 8A, or 7B. So you can move one step in either direction. And that's the idea here. Now, different people have some other theories around like crossing over the wheel, and some people have certain things about if you move 2 steps, and there's all these different other like ways to interpret this. The most basic one though is that if you're playing something that's 1A, it would technically be in harmony if you were playing something that was 2A or 12A based on music theory. For those of you who have more of a music theory, like a classically trained music background, you probably understand this a little bit better. But this is really meant to make this as simple as possible for somebody who doesn't have a musical background and who isn't classically trained. And I'm not classically trained. Like I can't pick out a song, like a song is playing. I'm like, oh yeah, that's E minor. Like I can't hear that necessarily. I can hear when things are clashing. I can definitely hear that. And so this tool definitely helps with a lot of that. Mixing Key also has a couple of other tools within their software. One of the things that I would not recommend, we've actually joked about this or had some conversations about this in our Pro DJ Cert track as well. The hot cues that Mixed Key sets are trash. Like most of them are not at good places. They're random colors. They're just random hot cues. And the purpose of hot cueing, in my opinion, is so that you actually know the track better, so that you're breaking down the song. And the hot cues that are set in Mixed Key, it's doing it automatically, so you don't have any sort of buy-in. You didn't listen to the song, it just did them automatically. And some of us will be like, oh yeah, that sounds great, that'll save me a ton of time. It's actually the opposite. It gives you this false sense of confidence. You load up a song that has hot cues that you didn't set, it's going to feel even weirder. Like I'd almost rather look at a blank waveform than look at a waveform that has hot cues that I don't know and I didn't set. So personally, I think that feature is not one that I would encourage using. But that being said, Mixed Key is an incredible piece of software regardless of that. But I would encourage you to do your own hot cueing yourself. That would be my advice to you. But thanks for asking that question, Boyette. Good to have you. And then let's see, Nelson, as far as scratching, can you give a quick example of how to scratch in the next song with 2 to 4 bars? Okay, you're gonna need to explain the 2 to 4 bars thing a little bit, but I think I'm hearing what you're saying, which is let me try to draw this out for you first, and then we'll try to execute it. So there's a couple of different ways. I've drawn this in a different way. Yes, the other day I tried to draw this differently. Let me show you. Okay, so I'm gonna use red. I'll just use red and green. Okay, so let's say I've got song A playing. I'm playing song B. This is one type of transition. Just call this A. This one's B. Right. For a period in time, these two are playing together. We're actually mixing them together. Let's say this BPM is 124. This one is 126. I've synced them together to make this 124, right? So that these are equal. As this is playing, we're getting to the chorus of the song. This is now my intro, which is instrumental. And hopefully, if I, have a good match here, this is, let's make this red. This is 8 bars, and the intro of this is also 8 bars. So this really makes this a no-brainer, because if I line up this 8 bar chorus and this 8 bar instrumental intro, they'll play together for 8 bars. By the time the chorus is done, the intro is also done, and now I'm out of this and into this song, right? This is a properly phrased mix. This is what we talk about phrasing. This is a properly phrased mix. Now, this is just one type of transition. And there's really only two categories of transitions. One is this, where you're actually blending the songs. So this is like blending or mixing. Right? This is number one. Now, number two would be song A is playing. Song B is playing. Actually, did I reverse that? Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Song A is playing, and then song B is playing. So there's not really overlap that's happening. This song is at 124. This song is at 126. You don't even in this example, you wouldn't even necessarily need to beat match these songs, because this one's playing at 124, then this one's playing at 126. So I'm essentially dropping on the one. Now, this song might actually continue to go on, but I'm changing it. So the same thing could apply, where this is my chorus. What I wouldn't want to do is then play the intro like this. This is not instrumental intro. This is not what I'd want to do. And the reason why is because I'm now going to have the chorus end, and now we're just going to go into 8 bars of instrumental, which is boring. Like, you're going to feel the energy drop at this time, right? So in this case, this is not how I'd want to set this up. If anything, I would set it up like this. And let's say this was the intro. And then this now gets into the chorus, the first chorus, or the verse, right? Something like that. Whatever the start of the song is, where like the lyrics come in. So I'm actually, chorus is playing, and then I'm dropping into this. So in this case, you are not actually mixing. So what you're maybe referring to is this idea of like, I'm going to scratch and drop on the one into this new song, right? So I could use that as a type of transition technique. And by the way, with this number two, there's also lots of other things to add into the same thing with number one. There are really these two types of transitions. And so I'm going to call this dropping on the one. Sometimes people will call this slamming songs in, because you're not actually mixing them together. Like, you're bringing the song in. Now, with both of these types of transitions, let me move my head. With both of these types of transitions, you can add in all sorts of things. You can add in EQ, effects, loops. All of that stuff could then also be on top of this. Spin back, volume fade out, scratching, like all of those things can be added into this. In fact, you can even add scratching to when you're blending a song in. You can scratch in or scratch out of a song that's playing. So, all of that is certainly possible. Let me try and pull up 2 tracks here that I can not lose our stream here. All right, let's see. I'm going to pull up 2 tracks that are from our actual music pack. And let me go ahead and do this. Hopefully that helps. But Nelson, feel free to go into a little bit more detail if I'm missing that. Let's see. And I'll double check the chat here in a second. Okay. All right. So let me switch. Okay. So let me stand up and let me do this. By the way, proper practice makes progress. Not perfect progress. Or focus on progress. I'm standing up because I'm now going to mix. And so as I stand up and mix, I want to practice the same way that it would be if I were actually performing and at a gig. I'm not going to DJ sitting down. And I'd encourage you to practice this way too at home. Okay, and I said this before, but I'm now going to really make sure that I'm also practicing it here. I'm going to use headphones as well, because that's how I would actually be performing at a gig, is by having headphones in. So I'm going to have one ear in, one ear out. I'm cueing the song that's coming in. I can hear this, even though you can't hear this. I can hear it on my side. You can see I'm moving it. Okay, so you were asking for like basically like a scratch in. So I'm going to show you, even if I were to mix these, how we could scratch into this. So let's get to this point. Let's see. So that's the scratch in, and I'll show you the scratch out. Okay, so I can use a scratch in or out, like in the mix, but I can also use a scratch to drop in on the one. So in this case, what you probably want to do is you'd probably want to do this with a track that has a really well-known start. But in the meantime, I'm just going to do it with the tracks that I have here. So as this is playing.
Ready to be loved, stranger. I need your love, don't matter where you come from. I need your love, bring love, cause I need some. I need your love, don't matter where you come from, stranger. I need your love, don't matter where you come from.
In this case, I'm gonna echo out of this track.
I need your love, don't matter where you come from, stranger.
Super simple. All I would did is I echoed out of this track and then scratch and drop in on the one. Now your timing is, it's important that your timing is down. And this is an important thing to be able to practice. Right, of being able to scratch and release on time. So this, when we talk about like different things to practice, which by the way, I have a couple of videos that we've recently put up on YouTube that are scratching specific, that are teaching you the basic scratches, the baby scratch in different notes. So like 8th notes, 16th notes, combinations of those. And I've actually got a follow the leader exercise where you're watching the video and you're following along to me. And it's as if I'm in your home with you as you're doing this, right? So the idea here though is, you know, there are a couple of different components. If you've never scratched before, there are a couple of different components here. So there's my hand placement. There's also the timing, right? The actual timing, and trying to make sure the timing is consistent, as opposed to, I mean, there's different places for different patterns and things like that, of course, too. And then in this case here, I'm not worried about the crossfader. I see so many DJs trying to emulate DJs that they see online or whatever, like using the crossfader and not knowing how to actually use it. Do not worry about the crossfader yet. If you're brand new to scratching, don't even worry about the crossfader. Worry just about the actual platter itself. And then the release. So this is actually I'm holding the platter and then I'm releasing it. And this takes some finesse here, and it takes a good amount of practice. So initially, maybe when you do this, it'll sound like this. Right, where like there's a gap there, or maybe it'll sound like this. So in both of those cases, I number one, the track wasn't in the right place. Number two, when I released it either with too much force or not enough. I pulled it back instead, right? So getting this part of it down is really helpful. And even though they call this the baby scratch, there's nothing baby about it. Like, this is fundamentals. This is your fundamental scratch. This is dribbling a basketball, being able to dribble a basketball down the court, like at a decent speed, right? And not have the ball all over the place, right? And be chasing after the ball. This is about control. That's really what this is. Right, that is being able to control the actual sound and being able to control the deck. And for those that started on vinyl, like this was one of the things that was essential for us, was being able to scratch the record in, because you had the motor of the turntable which didn't start right away. So I needed to learn how to actually control the record by hand. And this is what is missing a little bit from the way that most people are learning today, which you're learning on a controller. It's digitized, it starts right away. There really is not necessarily a need to be able to put your hand on the platter and scratch in time. So oftentimes people are learning scratching later, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it does take practice. So don't get discouraged if this doesn't sound very good for a little while. You have to keep practicing this. And in the videos that I made on YouTube, I want you to go and check those out. My promise to you is, if that you were to do that 3 times, if you did the exercise 3 times through and you did it 3 times a week, you would see a significant improvement from like your very first time to the end of the week. And then if you did that for another week, and then another week, and then another week, you'd see a tremendous change over the course of even like 1 month. You would see a tremendous change from where you were to now where you are in terms of your control on the actual platter. So give that a shot. Like, that's a challenge to somebody that's in here. Maybe somebody's really been wanting to scratch for a long time, and this is a challenge. I've got it already set up. You can go and do that. Okay, cool. So Nelson, I hope that helped answer your question. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to bring in songs. So let's see. I'm going back to the comments. If you have a question, please feel free to put it in the chat. Shout out to our friends who are on Twitch, our friends who are on YouTube. Welcome in. Let's see. Joey Mack is here from our Pro Cert. Boyette, you were asking about the program. Okay, cool. Like, let me make sure that we can get answers for you for what some next steps could be. Yeah, if you're interested in wanting to take your DJing to the next level, feel free to email me. You can email me directly, Hapa, Hapa at thedjcoach.com. I will get back to you. I will help figure out like how we can help you and what it is that we can do to set you up for success. Let's see. Oh, you did get my email. Okay. I try to be on top of it, but sometimes I do miss things. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Okay. This is a good question. Please share tips on how to get better at song selection and transitions. Okay. All right. Those are 2 very different things. Transitions, well, they're not that different. There's a connection too between them. Let's start with song selection. Song selection is going to come from you listening to more music, you being intentional about the music you are listening to, and you trying to figure out what pairs well with what. And some of that is going to be a bit of trial and error to some degree. Over time, like when it comes to also song selection, when people talk about song selection, there's not necessarily this like universal, wow, that person has great song selection. Oftentimes it's relative to what it is where you're playing, the setting that you're playing in, right? So the way to really make sure that you set yourself up for success when it comes to song selection is, what is it that you love? Like, what is the music that you love? Okay, the music that you love and the stuff that you really enjoy, those are the types of gigs that you should seek out. So if you're a big house music fan and that's what you listen to on a regular basis, like, you should create house music mixes. Like, your song selection is going to be better because of that. And then going to Spotify and listening to new music and, following your like release radar and then doing song radio around, a particular song that you like, those are things that are going to help with your overall selection and how you like bring in new music and whatnot. Also, I would say that when it comes to song selection, you can learn new genres too, though. So this doesn't have to be something where you only stay in one lane and that's the only lane you stay in. In fact, most of us got into DJing because we love all types of music or lots of different types of music. So I also would encourage you to do, something similar. You find maybe you have a friend who really is into one type of music. I love asking people what they're into. In fact, I'm going to do it right now. Everybody, go ahead. If you're here with me live, put in the chat, give me a song that like you would play right now for anybody that's here. I don't know if I'll get a chance to play any of those songs because I don't want the stream to get taken down, but but put in the chat a song that like you're really into right now. Like, what is a top song? Somebody jumps in your car right now and is like, hey, play me some music. What are you throwing on right now? There's no wrong answers. Put it in the chat. I want to hear what you say. DJ Fizz says Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus. All right. No judgment. If that's your favorite song right now, that's all good. Put in the chat what you would play. That is the summer song. And so as you guys are doing that and putting your songs in the chat, I'll answer the second part. Like, how do you get better at transitions? The best way to get better at transitions is what I just showed with mapping songs. When you start mapping the songs and really understanding how to get in and how to get out of songs, that is the main way to get better with transitions. I get this question a lot from DJs who are looking for like a magic pill or like a magic set of buttons on a controller that will help you make better transitions. And, there are a lot of different functions that our DJ software and our hardware provides us, like setting a loop or using effects or using an audible sample of some kind, or, there's so many different options, EQ, stems, right? We have all these different things that we can do, but if the phrasing is wrong, no amount of looping and echo and reverb and all this stuff is not going to save the mix. It's the same as if you were cooking a dish and you were, serving chicken breast and you did not cook the chicken. It was just raw chicken. And then you threw like salt on top of it and you put like some Lowry seasoning sauce. Maybe you even went to like some crazy place to find this extra special sauce and you put this extra special sauce on top of this uncooked chicken breast. It's still not going to taste good and it'll probably get somebody sick, right? Like that's the cooking of the chicken breast is proper phrasing. So the best way to make better food or to make better mixes is to know the music and understand the phrasing and understand how to get in and out of the song. Then anything you add on top of that, like a little bit of reverb at the end there, a little filter out, a little, like all of those things will actually like help accentuate how good and how well phrased the mix is when done well, right? So hopefully that helps kind of wrap your head around how important, just like literally how important understanding your music is. That is number one above all else. That is the key to it all. Okay, so let me look at the chat here. I'm curious. We've got Juniors on Bass, Sunday Morning. Okay, I don't know that track. I love this. This is why I'm asking you these songs. Deep House, Tech House, 125 BPM plus. I need a track, Justin. Give me an actual song. Don't give me a genre. Give me an actual song. I want to know what are you playing? What are you putting on in the car? Clag says Wishing Well. Lamar says Minx in Miami by Rick Ross. Okay. You see. Oh wait, Boyette said I play Moving in the Sun by Hugel. Ring of Fire, Joey Mack. Like we got some diversity in the chat here. The Wookiee remix, Ring of Fire. Yeah, okay. EO, Bad Bunny. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so this is what I'm saying is, all right, so some of those tracks I haven't heard of. Like I obviously have heard of Rick Ross, but I don't know Minx in Miami. I'm going to go and listen to that and see what that sounds like. I don't know Juniors on Bass, Sunday Morning. I don't know that song. So I'm going to go and listen to these songs. Like you guys are giving me something to so when you asked even about the song selection, continue to be a student of music as a DJ, like we really need to continue to stay students of music. Now, I want to know where songs come from. I want to know, was this a sample? Where did that sample come from? That's one of my favorite things ever, which by the way, I'm going to share this with you. Some of you already know this. Some of you already use this service. Some of you already now are guessing what I'm about to say. Hang on. I'm going to bring this up because I do want to see if I can share. Oh, here, I'll do it over here. Oh, that won't work. Hold on. Let me see if I can do it here. Who sampled? Does anybody know whosampled.com? Who sampled is awesome. I have the app, which actually I'm going to try this. I'm going to go back to the song that I was playing before. The Look Into My Eyes. Anybody know where that who the original is? Let's see if it I want to see if it'll detect it.
Look into my eyes, can you see they're open wide? Would I lie to you?
It's got a Shazam like feature.
Don't you know it's true? There's no one else but you. Would I lie to you, babe? Would I lie to you, babe? Look into my eyes, can you see they're open wide? Would I lie to you?
Well, that's not really quite working, but let me type it in instead. So it'll tell me where this came from, and it gives me the 1992 Charles and Eddie Would I Lie to You? Like that's the actual original track. And so it even will tell me where the sample was from. A lot of this also is user generated. I love this app. It's one of my favorite apps. It's one of my favorite websites, whosampled.com. If you've never heard of it, it's fantastic. Sometimes you'll put something in and you'll be so surprised. You're like, wow, that's where that's from? Like I would have never guessed. So anyways, my whole point is continue to be a student of music. And that's also what will really broaden your overall knowledge of music, which will also inform your song selection because you'll then be pulling up stuff that somebody's like, whoa, like, how did you know about this? Like, oh, this is cool. Right. So do that. Make that a priority. Okay, let's see what else we got. I'm going back through the chat. The Ruckus has. Okay. Clags. Here's a good song. Here's a good question. Clag says, I'm making a high energy mix about 26 to 30 minutes. I am putting the biggest song in the middle of the mix. Is that a good placement for a huge slammer hit? Great question. There are no wrong answers. However, I do believe that it is important to try to hook people in. I mean, people's attention span is so short these days that you want to sort of hook them in some way. I don't think it's a bad idea to put it in the middle of the song, in the middle of the mix. I also don't think it's a horrible idea to start a mix with the song that you are most excited about, or somewhere near the beginning. I don't think there's any sort of wrong answer nor right answer for that. I think that's just going to come down to how the rest of the mix is coming together and how it feels. But yeah, I love the idea also of centering around a song for a mix and being able to use that. Sometimes, we need help trying to figure out, well, what kind of mix should I create? Or, when I'm playing music at this event, where do I even start to gather the music? Usually it comes from an exercise like this. Like, what is a song that I want to play at this event? Okay, great. This is a song. Now, what else sounds like this? And now I'm going to start to bring in music. Cool. All right. Let's see. What else do we have here in the chat? Hey, coach, I want to let you know. Okay, cool. DJ Fizz, your first wedding gig went great. That's awesome. Do I have is that a cheer effect? Hold on. I thought I had like a cheering effect. That's right. Well, congratulations, Fizz. That's great. Oh no, I do have that. That's in I know that's in here somewhere. Media inserts. We'll give you a little thumbs up cheering here. This one. Yeah, great job. We love hearing that. I'm glad that it worked out. First one down, many more to come. Let's see. All right. Thanks for tuning. You're nailing it. Okay, appreciate that. Do you have a course for the Flex 10? Yeah, I mean we have lots of courses. They're not anything specifically for the Flex 10, but everything that you need to do on the Flex 10. Like honestly, there's a lot that's in that Flex 10, but most of it is really just about, instead of thinking about the gear, is more about thinking about how to DJ. Like you should be able to DJ on anything. I can DJ on a Flex 4, I could DJ on a Flex 10, I could DJ on a pair of CDJs, I could DJ on a pair of turntables. Like I could DJ on whatever it is that you throw in front of me. DJ on one of these small little Newmark Starlight mixers, right? You you have to make sure that you're like thinking about this not specifically about the gear. There are some nuances about certain pieces of gear, that's true. But as a pro DJ, I think anybody who's a pro DJ, you can attest to this as well. Some new equipment comes out. It doesn't take you long to just sort of be able to glance at it, figure out, oh yeah, that's here, that's there. It's kind of like getting in somebody's car that you've never driven before. You know, you're identifying all the things that are important, and then you're going off of that. So yeah, well, yeah, we're gonna help you. We're gonna help you get to the next level with your Flex 10. Okay, cool. Let's see. Oh, this is a good question. If you've ever played on a Rev 7 or a Rain 1, what is your preferred method for nudging, slowing to beat match? Okay, so let me give context for those that maybe aren't as familiar. A Rev 7 has motorized platters. I have one here in the studio somewhere. And then a Rain 1, same thing. It's got motorized platters. So it's really meant to emulate a turntable. Because the platter is moving, the way that you would manually beat match would be a little bit different. So let me show you on, I'm just going to show you on the Flex 4 as an example. Like on the Flex 4, there are two different parts of the controller, which would be the same, or of the jog wheel, which is the same with the Rain 1 or the Rev 7. You've got the top and then you've got the side. Right? So the side essentially is different than what's on the top. Now, in the case of the Rev 7, this is slightly different for certain controllers, even with motorized platters, right? Because it's still slightly different than what it would be on a turntable. And technically, there are two pieces, but they move together. On a turntable, they move separate. So you'd have a slip mat and a record, and then the needle or whatnot, and you could actually hold this in place while the platter moves under it, like as a completely separate mechanism. In this case, with the Rev 7 or a Rain 1, it still is all one piece, and even though it's motorized, the one piece is moving together. It's moving with it. They're not moving separately. So in terms of slowing down, the way that you would slow down on even a Flex 4 like this with non-moving platters is here on the side of it. I'm brushing my finger here. Let me get this angle. So like, okay, this one. So I am moving backwards. Technically, this is backwards to slow down. And it would be the same with a motorized platter. You'd still be moving backwards to nudge it, and applying a bit of pressure. In terms of moving forward, there's a couple of different ways that people would move forward. In this case, on a controller like this, I don't want to touch the top of it. I want to move forward by hitting the side like that to manually beat match. On a turntable with records, there is a technique where you're actually moving the record, like you're actually holding the record and moving the record ahead to speed it up, because it is moving independently of the platter itself. Hopefully that makes sense. I have a turntable here too. I've got a Techniques 1200, but it's in a case. It's going to take me way too long to get that out for me to show you that. But so what I'm basically saying is manual beat matching on a Rev 7 and manual beat matching on a Flex 4 are pretty much the same, because it's one piece. On a turntable, it's slightly different, but on a controller, it's pretty much the same, whether it's got a motorized platter or not. So hopefully that helps. Let me try to get. How do I get out of this? There we go. I've lost my mouse. Hold on a second. Go back. Go back. I don't know if anybody has ever tried this. If you ever have like two Macs set up, I've got my studio Mac and then my regular my laptop over here, and somehow my mouse fell into my other one. Oh wow, that's crazy. It like looped back around. Okay, anyways. All right. Let's see what else we got. Any other questions? Feel free to put them in the chat. Let's see. Okay. 4 of 5, JT says, I live on Who Sample. Yeah, whosampled.com. Yep, that's it. Okay, here's a question. Is it better to mix out on the first chorus or the second chorus or just do the outro? So 3 options. You said first chorus, second chorus, or the outro. Most times, I would say that you should not wait until the outro. Most times. There's no always or never, by the way. Now, mixing out on the first chorus versus mixing out on the second chorus, what would really determine that is making sure that you're paying attention to how this is going. You know, are people liking this song? Like, where's the energy at here? You know, and in some cases, you may want it to play a little bit longer to get to the second chorus. In some cases, you might want to get out of it sooner. I had a whole example that I did at a conference last year, and I had 2 different balloons, which I don't have them here in the studio, but I want you to envision this. Imagine I had a red balloon and a blue balloon or whatever, and as the song comes in, the balloon goes all the way up to the top. And this is a balloon with no helium, right? Just air in the balloon. Now, over time, it's going to start to fall naturally, which is the energy of the song, like the excitement around the song. It's falling. And then we're bringing in the new song, and then the new song gets exciting. So my idea here is with a dance floor, if I've got a dance floor going and I'm trying to keep them going, I want to try to keep the balloon as high as possible. I want to keep the energy as high as possible, right? So therefore, I want to mix out of the song sooner. So letting songs get to the second chorus, now new song comes in, there's like just a bit of a gap. There's kind of this seesaw effect. Whereas if I was coming out of the first chorus, it would keep the balloons up here. New one comes in, new one comes in, new one comes in. Like it's keeping the energy here as opposed to it falling all the way down. So hopefully you can see that in your mind, but you know, that usually is a determining factor. And you've got to use your, I love saying this, you've got to listen with more than your ears. You've got to really be paying attention and really not locked into your laptop, not like locked into your controller where then you're missing what's actually going on out here. Are they loving this? Is this a good track? Is this something that's moving this crowd? Okay, then what else do I have that's like that? All right, let's keep that going. Let's keep feeding this fire. Are they not liking this? Okay, let me get out of this, right? Like let me mix out. Let me go into a different direction. And that is a huge part of being a good DJ is being able to read a crowd and paying attention to it. And by the way, just because you're looking at a crowd doesn't necessarily mean that you're responding properly. So that will get better over time as well. With more experience, hopefully, like that'll get better. And here's a good thing. The good thing is you can get experience reading a crowd without actually DJing. Go to a place where maybe there's a DJ playing and play this game of what would I play right now? Like, you know, really fully observe what's happening. Is the DJ playing well to this crowd? You know, when are they mixing in and out of songs? Are they letting songs play too long? Which go in with that mentality. I think there's too many people that will go and watch a DJ and then will see a DJ playing, and because they themselves are not a good DJ, they're watching somebody who's got a gig and they're watching this person play and they're like, well, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm watching what this person is doing. And then, oh wow, okay, so he did it like that. Okay, all right, he did it like that. Okay, now let me go home and practice that. And you're actually practicing bad habits. You're watching somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, like, and then now you're going home and you're practicing what you saw this person doing. and you're completely lost, and you're just like floating around, like picking up bad habits from all different people, and now you're like wondering why you're stuck, and you've like picked up all these bad habits from all these people, and it gave you the combination plate of bad habits, and now you're trying to figure it out. So that's a big part of what we try to solve on our side, is to be able to instill good habits in you and be able to like give you a step-by-step process and give you a community that you're a part of, where we can help really let you know, like, no, that's not an ideal way to do that. And at the same time, yes, of course, this is an art form, and there are different styles to things and whatnot. But the whole idea is we are playing music for people, and that there is some sort of outcome that we're hoping to get out of this. People, are having a good time, continuing to dance, like whatnot. All right, let me see. I've got maybe another question in here. Let me just double check. Let's see. All right. Yeah, Joey confirmed that. I asked because I'm finding using. Okay. Okay. So actually, back to the pitch real quick. I asked because I am not fond of using pitch bend controls. Right. Okay. So there are these buttons that exist on some of the controllers, which if you hold it down, it will actually bend the pitch. So it'll speed it up, but you don't really have much control. And those are just kind of like temporarily speed up, temporarily slow down. So it's kind of the same as using your hand, except you have less control over them. So I also am not a fan of that. The ruckus. Also not a fan of that. Okay, let's see. Cool. Justin liked my balloon metaphor. Appreciate that, man. Okay, cool. Well, folks, that's our hour here. I do want to encourage you, if you are interested in and you like this environment, you like this idea of being able to get live help and get live coaching. We've got some of our Pro DJ certification students in the chat as well. I see them here. And if you're looking for something like that, we would love to see how we can help you. So you can email me, Hapa, Hapa, at thedjcoach.com. I'll be happy to help sort you out, get you a consultation, figure out like what's the best scenario for you. This is not one size fits all when learning how to DJ or trying to improve your DJing. Different people need different things. And so if that's something where you resonate with how I teach or how I coach, or you're just looking for mentorship, you're looking to get to the next level, please hit us up. We'd love to be able to help you out. Thanks for taking time to tune in today. The time is the most valuable resource we have, all of us. And so the fact that you're spending your time with us here today means a lot. Hopefully we can work together in the future and help you get to the next level. Shout out to all of our students that are on here, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. All right, here we go. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Coach Hapa. I'm very excited to have you here. Folks, I'm here to answer your questions. So you tell me what it is that you want me to answer, and I'm here to do it.